Hey everybody. Well, I'm glad to be working with you guys. This is going to be Blessed Be Your Name, and this is one of my favorite songs to play, and it's also just one of my favorite songs in general. It comes with a really fantastic bridge that reads, you give and take away, you give and take away, a heart will choose to say, blessed be your name. And that's taken right out of the book of Job, and it wrestles with this concept of, okay, how do we praise God in the good times and in the bad, even when the Lord allows the bad things to happen to us? And in this case, in the book of Job, it's just a fantastic story just to kind of give you a background on the spiritual things that are happening that we may not even know about. So that being said, let's get to tackling Blessed Be Your Name. This particular arrangement I'm doing is by Shane and Shane, and I'm going to break this down into 3 different levels. I'm going to have a guitar essentially being played for level 1. It's, in other words, if you want to just be able to play through the song, just playing through the chords, that would be the first thing you'd want to tackle. Level 2 is they're going to start adding some specific strumming techniques and strumming patterns that you're going to want to be able to learn on that. And then level 3 is going to start adding riffs and all that other good stuff. On the original recording, there were up to 3 different guitars playing, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to arrange this in a way as if you didn't have 3 guitars playing. So we'll start with the first thing. Level 1, let's just talk about the things you need to know. You need to be able to know how to play a G chord. And according to the chord chart that I've given you earlier, I would recommend that you learn them by columns. For right now, I'm going to stick with the very first column that's there. So my G is going to be played with 4 fingers here. And that's going to be as such. When I strum all 6 strings, it should sound like this. Note I have my capo on the 4th fret because that's the key of this song. For the D chord, I'm going to switch either between D sus and or D. And I think because on the recording they do it in D, instead of using the D sus shape, I'm going to use D instead. So for D, the main thing you got to keep track of is that you're strumming just the bottom 4 strings. And then we intentionally don't strum the 6th and the 5th string. Super, super important. All right, E minor 7. I'm going to still retain those 2 fingers down here and strum all 6 strings for this. And then last not but least, the C chord. In our case, it's going to be a C2. For this last C chord, make sure that you're strumming from the 5th string, that's this one here, all the way down. Make sure you're not strumming the 6th string. Now you may see that when I'm playing, sometimes I'll reach over with my thumb to touch some of these strings. And part of what that does is that if I'm going, let's say, to a C chord here, I can now strum all 6 strings, and the top of my thumb here is muting that 6th string. In general, I would recommend practicing getting your picking hand over here used to being able to hit all these strings accurately, the number of strings that you need, but you can also use this to cheat as well. So that being said, let's just kind of go through the song. I would suggest when you're playing through this, the first thing you got to get used to is just being able to play all those chords accurately with the correct number of strings. And that's pretty much what level 1 is going to be all about. You're just going to play through the chords accurately and without bumping the wrong strings. So let's look at the intro. We got G for 4 chords, 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then D for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. E minor for 4 beats. We'll play E minor 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then C for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. G for 4 beats. 2, 3, 4. D over F sharp. We're not going to worry about the D over F sharp. We're just going to play a D, or in your case, D sus if you prefer. E minor is for 2 beats, D is for 2 beats, and C is for 8. So we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes care of our intro. So let's just try it together. We're going to go through that really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, prep your D. 1, 2, prep your E minor 7. 1, 2, prep your C. 1, 2, prep your G, 1, 2, prep your D, 1, 2, prep your E minor, then D, and then D, and then C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, start with that. Next things next, we're going to go tackle our verse 1, and it's essentially just going to be the same chord progression all the way through. We got G for 4 beats, D for 4 beats, E minor for 4 beats, and C for 4 beats all the way through the whole thing. So we'll try, I'm just going to do the first 4 chords and see if you can do that with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4, then D. 1, 2, 3, E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, then C. 1, 2, we'll do that again. G. 1, 2, D is next, then E minor, 3, 4, and then C at the end, and fantastic. That takes care of all of verse 1. Pre-chorus 1 is exactly the same thing, so I'm not really going to worry about doing that. Chorus 1 is where things get a little different. Chorus 1, we start off with our regular chord progression. We got G, D, E minor, and C. But then we end with G, D, E minor, D, C. Now where it says E minor, D, C, the E minor is only 2 beats. 1, 2, D is for 2 beats. 1, 2, and then C is for 8, or 2 sets of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's just practice chorus 1 slowly together, you and I. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, then the D, then E minor, then C, here we go, 2, then our G, and then D, then E minor, and then D, and then C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Now at this point, I think it's worth mentioning that for right now, for the beginner level, just strum once per chord, get all the way through until you're able to do that comfortably. As you get better, this is sort of a beginning strum pattern that would be worth learning how to do, and we're going to go over how to do that for chorus 1. First things first, you're going to need to know that down strums, whenever I say down strum, that means your pick is going to move downward on the guitar. An up strum is where your pick moves upward in an ascending motion across the strings. So this would be a downstroke, and these are upstrokes. Now the funny thing about downstrokes and upstrokes is that no matter if you want to do 2 downstrokes in a row, by default you have to do an upstroke that doesn't touch any of the strings. So if I put my hand going down and then bring it up to reset it and do the same thing, by default I'm doing what I call a phantom upstroke. In other words, my hand is moving upward just like I would for an upstroke, but it's not actually playing any strings. That's super important to keep track of because that's going to be very helpful as you learn more advanced strum patterns. Our first strum pattern we're going to work on for the chorus is going to be down, and then reset your hand, and you're going to go down, up. We're going to do a phantom downstroke. So we just move our hand down, but we don't play anything. Then we do an upstroke, and then a down. So slowly again, that's going to be down, reset your hand, down again, up, a phantom downstroke, and then up and down. Now for some people it's helpful not to think about it in terms of phantom strokes or another. It's just helpful to think of down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, whatever floats your boat. Now in the side here, I'm going to go ahead and put on the side counting or beats. And above each of those beats, you're going to see a particular symbol. The little symbol that looks like a staple that you'd find like from a stapler. Universally in the world of violins, violas, cellos, and in guitars, that always means a downstroke. And the V that's pointing downward, ironically, actually means an upstroke. So it's kind of confusing, but it is what it is, standard nomenclature. So in any case, you're going to go down on beat 1, down again on beat 2, upstroke on the and right after 2. Nothing happens on 3. Your hand kind of resets in this lower position. Upstroke on the and after 3, and then down on 4. So if I were to just do that same pattern with numbers, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 4. If the numbers are messing you up, an easier way to think about it could be down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. Do whatever floats your boat. That's totally fine. Hard thing to think about when you're playing strum patterns, though, is that you're still limited to the number of strings that you can play per chord. So if you're playing a G chord, you can still play all 6 strings and just not worry about what you're strumming. But when you switch to the D chord, where you have to play only 4 strings, Take great care to make sure you're watching your right hand so that when you strum, you're not strumming any more than fourth strings. General rule of thumb is you can strum fewer than the required number of strings. So if I have 4 strings, I can strum 4 or less, like maybe 3 or 2 strings, but I'm not allowed to strum more. So I can't strum, if I have a 4-string chord, I can't strum 5 or 6 strings because now I start introducing notes that don't actually fit in the chord. It's super important. So in our case here, if I'm doing a D, I can strum all 4 to start with, and maybe fewer strings, maybe just the top 2 or 3 for the rest of the strums. Totally appropriate. E minor, 7, that's a chord that I can use all 6 strings for, so I don't have to really worry about which strings I'm strumming. And then C, of course, is 5 strings, and this is where muting a string with your thumb is very helpful, because then I can strum, and I really don't have to pay attention to how many strings I'm strumming. In our case, I'm going to suggest, since you're early stages of guitar playing, my suggestion is instead of relying on muting strings, focus on developing accuracy in your right hand by watching your hand and limiting yourself to the number of strings that you can strum at a time. In general, your first strum should include all the strings, and any following strums can include fewer. That's just a general good rule of thumb, so that way you're on the safe side. So if I were to do chorus 1, I would do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice in my strumming hand that I'm getting all the strings on the first stroke, but then just fewer than the required number for the following strums. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when we get to the end of the chorus 1, we have E minor for 2 beats, D for 2 beats, and C for 8. Here gives us a problem because D is supposed to land on beat 3, but our current strum pattern, as you can see here, doesn't have anything happening on beat 3. So, unfortunately, we have to change our strum pattern just for that one spot so that we can have a downstroke on beat 3. My suggestion is you go down, down, up, down, down, up. And I would do that again. 3, 4. Down, down, up, down, down, up. And so, essentially, you're just adding, just changing the strum pattern just a little bit so you can fix that. So that measure will sound like this. Blessed be your down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then we resume our regular downstrokes. We resume our regular strum pattern for that. So that line again. 1, 2, here I go. I'll go down, down, up, down, down, up. And then when I get to our C, we do our regular strum pattern. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And that's that. Let's do that chorus again. Just the, I'll take it from the third line of chorus 1. 1, 2. Blessed be the name. Doing our regular strum pattern. E minor, we switched to our new one. Takes care of all that. Great. Verse 2, let's do verse 2. It's the same thing as verse 1. We're going to strum G, 4 beats, D for 4 beats, E minor for 4 beats, and then C for 4 beats. Pre-chorus 2 is exactly the same thing, so we won't do that. Chorus 2, let's practice that together. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed pattern. 1, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Now we get to the bridge. Bridge 1's pretty easy. 4 beats for each. Give and take away. You give and take away. Pretty straightforward. Bridge 2, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. Bridge 2, we start doing G chord, then A minor. You can pick any chord shape of A minor that you like. Some popular ones are this one here. That's an actual A minor chord. But if you want to do one that's closer to the pattern that we've been doing earlier, you can remove this ring finger, play an open G string, and you can just play that for an A minor 7. That would be appropriate. Or if you want to add your pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, that's also appropriate as well. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to go with the regular A minor chord because it's worth learning. So, you give and take away, then G over B. It's like a G chord, but remove the middle finger and only strum from the 5th string downward. That's very important. Only the 5th string downward. So you may, if you're able to, you may use your thumb on the 6th string to prevent it from hitting the 6th string. And then we conclude with a C chord. So bridge 2, 1, 2, here we go. You give and take away, G over B. You give and take away. Next part. Our heart will choose to say, G over B. Blessed be your name. Now for this C chord, even though this is a simple rendition of this, I would recommend you guys can do this. We're going to crescendo here, 8th notes. We're going to do downstrokes for all 8th notes. You're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that will sound like this. I'm going to start from the 2nd page where it says our heart will choose to say. 1, 2, 3. Our heart will choose to say, blessed be your name, blessed be the name, and so on and so forth. Let's talk briefly about how to do a proper crescendo on guitar. Some things to consider are, you want to play the strums as softly as you can to start with, and then progressively get louder. A good way to practice that is to just simply touch your strings with your left hand. Don't squeeze the strings, but just simply touch them. And that will mute all your strings. With your pick then, just gently stroke it. Stroke the strings. And then progressively push heavier into the pick, into the strings, and that will increase your volume. It's worth being able to practice this to be able to move smoothly without speeding up, but still just getting your volume louder and softer. One other technique you can use when you're doing this, and I use quite a bit, is I also minimize the number of strings I'm doing. So if I'm starting soft, I'll just use maybe 1 or 2 strings. And as I get louder, I'll increase that to more strings. And the combination of adding more strings and adding more pressure with my pick into the strings kind of compounds on itself. It goes from very soft to very loud. Too often I've seen guitarists, they'll start here and they try and get louder and they're strumming all the strings to begin with, and you can't get very loud when you do that. But if you start with fewer and combine that, it's way more dramatic in terms of volume. Okay, cool. Let's go over chorus 3 and chorus 4 and then our bridge 3. So chorus 3 is the same as before. There's nothing really fancy about that. Same strum pattern, same sort of abbreviated strum pattern at the end. Same with chorus 4. Chorus 4 is tricky because chorus 4 at the end has that extended C. It goes for 4 measures of 4 beats. So I'm going to suggest when you get there, just do your strum pattern you've been doing earlier. And on that 4th measure of the C there, at the beat 1 of that 4th measure, my suggestion is to just let the chord ring. Give it a little space. And then we go right into bridge 3 as we normally would, just a single strum per chord. One other thing to consider is when you do this extended C chord coming out of chorus 4, I like to decrescendo. I like to make it softer as we go. I like to go 1. And so the reverse is true. If your crescendo involves you playing more strings and playing more heavily with your pick, a decrescendo does the opposite. You progressively use fewer strings and you're strumming less heavy with your pick. And that takes care of that. All right. So without further ado, that pretty much takes care of this entire tune. Let's try playing it from the top. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Blessed be your name in the land that is plentiful, where streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name when I'm found in the desert place, though I walk through the wilderness. Blessed be your name. Pre-chorus 1, here we go. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, chorus, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Verse 2. Blessed be your name when the sun's shining down on me, when the world's all as it should be. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name on the road marked with suffering, though there's pain in the offering. Blessed be your name. Pre-chorus 2. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You give and take away. You give and take away. It's really high. A heart will choose to say, blessed be your name. You give and take away. You give and take away. A heart will choose to say, blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, blessed be your name. Fantastic. So key things to think about when you're going through this and you're strumming along with me. Make sure that each of your strings have this nice clear sound when you're strumming. If you're hearing that a lot of notes are being muted or anything sounds less than what I'm playing on here, work a lot on getting your chords to sound good well before you start adding more complexities. But if this was pretty easy for you, try level 2. Level 2 is in our next video. Take care. God bless.